Welcome to this Christmas Spectacular, brought to you by KIB Productions and University of York.
So sit back and relax while our finest players unlock the mystery of Who Killed Santa?
The time, Christmas Eve. Place, downtown. The crime, murder. A crime most foul and fatal. Somebody killed Santa, the real one. You join us as the city's finest police detective sets out to unmask the killer. A gaggle of suspects are gathered together around a chalk outline of Santa. The detective introduces himself to the group.
The name is Hardboiled, Detective Hardboiled. I work with the police, but I'm only brought in for the specialist stuff. The murder's most foul. Bad news travels fast, so let's get this done as quickly as possible. Thank you everyone for coming down here tonight. You're all going to be a big help. By now you already know the bad news. Santa is dead. Ladies and gentlemen, I put it to you, someone here, one of you, had the motive, means, and opportunity to commit this atrocity.
There's a collective gasp and everyone looks around them, shaking their heads.
And now, by a series of deductions, we will sort out the riff from the raff and find out who did it.
A beautiful blonde pipes up. She looks confused already.
Pardon me, but who did what now?
A reindeer with a very shiny nose explains gently.
He means he's going to find out who killed Santa.
Not just that. I will unmask the person who committed the most hideous crime ever committed, ruining Christmas.
Ruining Christmas? But...
Oh, Dollface, you must realize that with Santa gone, Christmas is pretty much kaput.
And you are?
Elf, I work for Santa.
In what capacity?
Oh, I work in the shop, you know, and then on Christmas Eve, I sometimes do the delivery run as well.
So, an elf?
Not elf, elf.
But you are an elf.
Technically, yeah.
Alf the elf. I see. And ma'am, beg your pardon, may I have your name, please?
You can call me Blondie.
And how do you two know each other?
We both work for Santa.
Doing what this year?
Toy run.
You know, delivering presents.
Yeah, 'cause we're both elves.
I see.
The detective looks at Blondie. He has never seen anyone who looks less like an elf in his life.
Officer, make a note.
Right. The tall, blonde, bada boom, bada bing lady is an ELF.
Can you tell me anything about the events of this evening?
Look, you all know that Santa can't do the chimneys no more. Not with his little weight problem. I know he's on a diet and everything, but these things take time, like a couple of 100 years.
Alf and Blondie giggle at this and exchange glances.
Anyways, so we kind of got to helping him do his work. So me and Jimmy, we do the chimneys and let Santa in the front door. And sometimes if there's a rush, me and Jimmy do the chimneys and the presents as well. Depends on the day.
Depends on the day. Hang on. Isn't it always Christmas Eve?
Technically, yeah.
So, on December 24th, what were the events that led up to the time of the murder?
Well, we was at Holly Street number 24. The chimney was tiny, real skinny. So I went in and then opened the front door for Santa, and he went into the house.
What happened next?
I don't know. I went back to the sleigh to get the next load of presents for number 26 next door.
Did you deliver those presents to number 26?
I did. Santa was taking his sweet time, so I thought I better speed things up a bit. And when I came back, he still hadn't returned, so I entered the premises.
Of number 24?
That's correct. And that's when I found him.
And what did you see?
He was laying in the corner by the fireplace, a carrot in his mouth and footprints all over him.
Dead?
Technically,
And what did you do then?
I called you, the police, and the wife, of course, so she'd like to know.
Ah, yes, Mrs. Claus.
Look, detective,
Hard-boiled, ma'am. Hard-boiled like the egg.
you mean that you have a hard exterior, but inside you're soft, squidgy, and delicious?
That would be soft-boiled, ma'am.
I see. So, Detective Hardboiled, I just wanted to say that you must realise I have nothing to do with this. I was home in the North Pole when...
I appreciate you coming all this way, ma'am, I do. But if you want to save Christmas, we need to get to the bottom of this tonight. There's more than one little boy and girl out there whose heart will be a little slower, knowing that Santa never came.
My thoughts exactly. But don't you think that this is just wasting precious time? I don't mean any disrespect, Hardboiled, but Christmas comes but once a year. And if Santa isn't around anymore, somebody has to do it.
Do what?
Deliver the presents.
And is that something you would be willing to take on tonight, Mr.
Rudolph, naturally. I mean, we simply cannot keep all those poor children waiting for nothing, can we? And time is passing. And unfortunately, the longer you keep us here, the less time we at the North Pole have to do anything about it.
So, are you suggesting that we leave the investigation one more day, maybe two, put Santa on ice, have an autopsy done, confirm the cause of death, and when Christmas is over, we'll let the fat man sing?
It's what Santa would have wanted.
I agree. More than anything, he would not have wanted those little kiddies to miss out on their presents. Bless their little hearts.
Agreed.
Yeah, sure, whatever. What were you talking about again?
The death of Santa Dollface and what to do about the presents. So, are we all in agreement then? We go now, deliver the presents. I'm sure Detective Hardboiled will understand.
No, I don't think so. I'm sure you'll agree that no kid wants a present from the person who killed Santa, do they? One of you did it, and by the end of this evening, I'm going to find out who it was and why they did it. So tell me, Rudolph, were you with Santa when he met his end?
Oh, dear me, no. Although I feature in one popular tune, the sleigh is led by the ace, as the legend states, not by me. No, sorry, sir, I was nowhere near Santa when he met his unfortunate demise.
But answer me this. Isn't it true that you wouldn't be averse to doing Santa's job?
Well, I don't deny that it does hold a certain appeal for me. The fame, the fortune, having more than one song about you, but I didn't kill him.
I see. You should know that I don't make any deductions until I've received all the facts, sir. So right now I'm just waiting for all the facts. Officer?
Sir?
Did you get that? Only one song?
Sir?
Good. And so we move on to you.
The detective moves his pointed finger across the assembled suspects and stops at the one person who hasn't spoken yet, a young boy.
So, kid, would you mind telling me what you are doing here?
I live here.
I see. And in your own words, can you go through the events of this evening?
Detective, he's just a child. Also, the words you're using might be a little bit big for him. Aren't they, sweetie?
Lee, I'm 8 years old, not 4, okay?
So, you understood what I asked?
Sure.
Well, I didn't. What's he talking about?
And you live here with?
My parents.
No brothers or sisters?
That's a negative.
And where are your parents?
Working.
And they left you at home all alone at the age of 8?
Your name Kevin?
No, it's Jerry. And besides, I'm not home alone. The police are here, aren't you?
So is the murderer.
I'm not afraid.
That's very brave of you.
Whatever.
So, as I was saying, can you please go through the events of this evening leading up to this most vicious crime?
So, you know how no kid is supposed to see Santa, right?
Right.
But this year, I decided to stay up so that I could see him. I even laid a little trap, so if I fell asleep, it'd wake me up.
Explain.
Well, it's quite simple, really. I figured Santa was unlikely to fit down our chimney, so I laid the trap by our front door. Nothing fancy, just a wire that would break a circuit, activate an alarm, and a camera in my bedroom.
And did Santa break the circuit?
Actually, no, he didn't. It was him.
The kid turns and points at Alf the elf.
Me?
No, that would make sense. Alf would have broken the circuit when he went to open the front door. That corroborates your story, Alf.
Oh, good. Thank goodness.
What happened next? Did you come downstairs?
And scare Santa off? No way. Why should I when I had a camera set up so I could watch remotely?
Kids these days, huh?
You wouldn't happen to have the video footage, would you?
No.
Pity.
I would have if I hadn't fallen down.
Let me guess. You didn't tidy your bedroom, even though your mother had told you to.
No, but I left a path in the middle, I swear.
And when you woke up in the middle of the night because your trick actually worked, you leapt out of bed, landing on, let's see, a fairy castle. No. Sports equipment. No. Aha! I know. You tripped on a hand-built Lego truck complete with real wheels, and you fell onto your video gear, rendering it useless.
You're good. You should be Santa.
Not tonight, kid, not tonight. What a pity about the surveillance equipment, though.
You win some, you lose some.
Officer, would you please check the video footage to see if by any chance we got lucky and it wasn't destroyed?
Sure thing. I'm on it, boss.
But then again, how convenient for somebody to have the evidence destroyed.
Are you saying, Detective Hardboil, that someone knew about the hidden camera and set a trap for the kid, putting toys in his path to make him fall and break the recording device, and then let him take the fall for it?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Somebody set the pocket up?
That's correct.
But who would do such a thing?
And who could have known about the hidden camera?
Yes. Who?
I've just checked, sir, and the memory card's gone from inside the camera. And it's broken as well, sir. Someone did a good job on it.
The plot thickens.
No, not Santa. It couldn't have been him.
Yes, it does seem unlikely with his mobility issues that he could nip upstairs to lay down an obstacle in the passage for a small boy to trip over, and then steal the memory card from the camera too.
No way Santa could have done that.
Didn't even have a mobile phone. I mean, who can't use one of those these days?
So who laid the trap then?
Perhaps someone close to Santa. Someone in his very room. Think about it. Little boys and girls have been trying to catch Santa for years, and they never have. And why do you think that is? Who does the job of maintaining secrecy at all costs, sees you when you're sleeping, knows when you're awake? Who else but Santa's staff and family, trusted with the task of keeping his existence a closely guarded secret? Poor kid just didn't watch out. Better luck next time, kid. Next time you'll know the tune.
What?
You don't know the tune?
You just said that.
The tune that blackmails kids everywhere?
Into being good.
After 2. 1, 2. You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not shout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Oh, that tune.
He's not coming back, is he?
Which makes it all the more important to find the son of a gun that sent him on his way, don't you think? Which brings us to the real question.
Who killed Santa?
Well, yes, but before we get to that one, we must first find out
Who ruined Christmas?
That too, but to find that out, we first need to find out
Who did it?
we're going in circles here. We need a motive. Who here had a motive to do him in?
I don't know about me, but Alf.
Hey, Blondie, what you doing?
Oh, no. I don't think you did it, Alf. But they're gonna find out anyway, so let them know now, okay?
About what?
The list.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Alf, were you on Santa's nice list? Be honest. We all know anyways.
Oh, fine. No, I wasn't.
And why not?
Oh, fine. I know I like to come across as helpful, but sometimes...
Sometimes?
Oh, okay, sometimes I refer to him as the big old lump of lard. Oh, go on, judge me, all of you. You're no different. And I only called him that because I hated doing those chimneys.
You hate doing the chimneys?
Well, who wouldn't? They're filthy, and no houses have proper chimneys. And with Santa being the size he was, there was no way he could do it, so we had to.
Did Santa know how you felt?
He heard Alf call him that horrid name.
Oh, it's true. And after that, it was straight onto the naughty list for me.
So you resented Santa?
Well, maybe a bit. Okay, technically, yeah, I resented Santa, but I didn't kill him.
I see. Just getting the facts, sir, just the facts.
There's a reason small kids ain't sent up chimneys no more. It's against the law. But sending elves down them, where's the law against that?
There isn't one.
And you know that, Blondie. Or shall I call you Jimmy?
Da-da-da.
But how did you know?
It's quite simple. A small matter of deduction, really. I asked everyone who saw Santa that night to be brought down here for a little chat. Now, Alf here was constantly talking about somebody called Jimmy, who worked with him and Santa, correct?
Correct.
Since you were the only person in the room unaccounted for, I began to wonder if you were really Jimmy, moonlighting as Blondie. And as it turns out, my suspicions were correct.
You got me. My name's Jimmy, but as you can see, I'm a girl. But Santa, he was very specific about the elves helping him only being male. But from the time I was a little elf, I dreamed of helping Santa with his sleigh.
So you pretended to be a boy?
Yeah. And it was going real well, too, until...
Until tonight?
Until tonight.
What happened?
He found out.
How did he find out?
It was my lipstick. It fell out of my pocket straight onto Santa's lap.
And how did you dress when you were masquerading as Jimmy?
Like this?
Was Santa blind?
No, sir. Just dedicated, but once he knew, the way he looked at me, it was just terrible.
And what happened then?
He said I would have to go back to the workshop next year and never go on the sleigh ever again.
Were you upset?
Of course I was upset. My dream from the time I was a little girl shattered. But I didn't kill him.
Just getting the facts, miss, just the facts. They're very important, those facts. Tell me, Jimmy, just how long was Alf separated from you?
Not for more than a minute, sir. As he said, I stayed with the reindeer the whole time on the sleigh. You have to, otherwise they fly away. You don't know the number of times they've flown off, leaving me and Santa on a roof in Timbuktu. Anyway, because of this, there's a new rule. Someone stays with the reindeer, and tonight that person was me. Anyway, Alf here went on to number 24, as he said, opened the door for Santa, left straight away, and went to number 26.
And how long was he in number 26?
About 2 minutes, sir.
And then?
Well, Santa hadn't showed up, so Alf went back inside number 24, and that's when he found him.
Jimmy, how long was he inside the second time?
Not for more than 30 seconds, sir, and then he came running out.
I see. Thank you, miss. The facts are the facts, miss. That's what they are. Make a note of that, Henry.
Yes, sir.
And Henry,
Yes, sir.
you'll need to speak to the 8. Verify Jimmy's story here.
The 8, sir.
You know the tune.
Uh,
Don't make me sing it.
I know the beginning, sir. To be honest, I never make it past Prancer.
And here we go. Yet another song that nobody knows. Just like the 12 days of Christmas. There's not a person in the world who knows more than 5 gold rings, not one. And yet there it is, every Christmas, making fools out of all of us. Damn it, I hate that song. On the bright side, at least there's only one.
One what, sir?
One song that nobody in the world knows the words to.
Well, actually, you just mentioned the reindeer song too, sir.
What about Hotel California?
American Pie.
The Califragilisticexpialidocious?
Fine. I'm wrong about the song. Are you happy now?
I could help him with their names, sir, if you want.
No. Let the boy sweat, Rudolph. It's good for him. Builds character. Besides, I think it's your turn anyway, Mr. Rudolph. Can you please go over the events of this evening?
Of course.
Can you tell me where you were?
Of course. After Santa left the North Pole on his sleigh, I stopped at the local Polar Express shop for some quick groceries.
What did you buy there?
Oh, some food for the elves and some last-minute gifts, of course. Oh, yes. Also some rolled oats, my favorite. Ask for Mario. He'll confirm I was there.
We'll be checking up on that. Henry, will you get on to that?
Of course, sir.
Well, then I decided to stop back in at the North Pole headquarters. I dropped in on the elves at the workshop. Ask any of them.
Henry, will you get on to that too, please?
Oh, certainly. Yes, sir.
Henry takes out his phone and mutters into it, scribbling notes, then hangs up.
Well, that was a quick phone call.
Yes, Henry is very efficient, but don't tell him that. I wouldn't want to spoil him.
Confirmed, sir.
Would you mind getting me a coffee, Henry?
Yes, sir. What kind?
Soy latte, shaken, not stirred. Cholesterol.
Oh,
I'm on it.
And what happened next?
I got the phone call, the call about Santa. Naturally, I rushed straight over here. The poor old man, to end his days like that. Simply shocking.
Thank you, Mr. Rudolph. Just getting the facts, sir, the facts. Just checking the facts.
Henry the cop enters with the latte.
Here you go, boss.
Thank you, Henry. Would anyone else like a coffee?
I'm on it.
The facts tell us everything that we need to know. But let's get back to the kid.
Okay,
We never finished your story.
we didn't.
Did you tell anyone at all at the North Pole what you were going to do?
You mean about the video?
Yes.
How would I do that? Besides, I'm not stupid.
So no then.
No.
So how do you think they could have known about it?
Lucky guess?
There is no such thing as a lucky guess. Lady Luck doesn't exist in my book. It's all work, and maybe one day you'll get paid.
I did make an online shopping wish list.
You have an online shopping account?
It's my dad's. I hacked his password. He doesn't use it.
And what exactly was on the wish list you created?
Camera, memory card, circuit, tripwire, night vision goggles.
And did you name that wish list?
Yes.
Well?
I called it my I'm going to make a video of Santa and catch him list.
I see. That's how they did it. But how did they access the account? Any one of you hack the kids' wish list?
No.
We don't have to.
We had an arrangement with the online shops
An arrangement?
for the wish list.
How else will we get our gifting information?
How about good old-fashioned letters to Santa?
It takes months to make those toys. And the letters, well, they're lovely, but some of them arrive after Christmas. Online shopping wish lists are there months before Christmas.
You gotta move with the times, sir, or the times, they'll leave you behind.
So, someone just had to put two and two together and know the camera was there before it even became a problem. Well, that sorts that one out, but doesn't help me eliminate anyone. Yet. We'll see. Kid, you never told us what happened after you fell over breaking your camera.
There's not much to tell.
I must have hit my head harder than I thought. And when I woke up, there were cops everywhere. Santa was already dead and Christmas was ruined.
You poor boy.
At this point, Henry arrives back in the room, carrying coffee for everyone and trying not to spill any on his new uniform. Despite the late hour, he still looks bright-eyed and happy to be a cop. Detective Hardball sips his latte and launches into one of his speeches.
We'll get to the bottom of this. I will sift the facts piece by piece until we have gone through the means, motive, and opportunity for each and every one of you. One of you did it, and one of you is going to pay. I will not rest until I know who the guilty party is. I will not fail you, Santa, because, Santa, you never failed me. Even though my childhood was a miserable existence, starving in the street, beat up every day by just about everybody I ever met, no parents, dressed in rags, and to top it all, I didn't have a puppy. Every boy should have a puppy, but I didn't, not ever. But I won't go on about it. But what I will say is that once a year, Santa didn't fail me. He came and made Christmas real once more. He didn't fail me, and I will not fail him. You got that, Santa? You got that?
Everyone gives a round of applause, looking impressed.
I suspect that somebody here knows more than they're saying. Isn't that right, Mrs. Claus?
I have absolutely no idea what you are talking about, Detective Hardboiled.
Mrs. Claus, answer me truthfully. Were you at the North Pole of the whole of Christmas Eve?
Of course. Who else would make the hot cocoa?
I see. Was there anybody else with you, Mrs. Claus?
Well, the elves and my husband initially, of course. But once he had gone on the Christmas run, no, there wasn't. But I didn't leave. There was so much to do. Tidy up the workshop, make the hot cocoa and the cinnamon biscuits, of course. I was cleaning until the early hours.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but are you saying there's no one who could vouch for you?
No, wait. There was someone else. Was there? With me? Of course. Weren't you, Rudolph?
Mrs. Claus?
Please tell Detective Hardboiled that you were with me at the North Pole earlier tonight.
With you? No, you must be mistaken.
What do you mean? I gave you some of my cinnamon cookies, remember?
I'm sorry, Mom, but there weren't any cookies. Not tonight. Perhaps you're getting mixed up with another evening.
I most certainly am not. Now stop this nonsense and tell the detective you were there with me.
I was nowhere near Mrs. Claus, I assure you, Detective.
I see. Well, Mrs. Claus, it would appear that you have no alibi.
In other words?
You are the only person who cannot verify their whereabouts on the night of 24th of December.
But I do. Rudolph was there with me at the North Pole earlier this evening. I don't understand. Why would he lie?
Yes, why would he?
I don't know, unless...
I have stated from the outset that I have nothing to do with Santa's death. Furthermore, I have a number of alibis for this evening.
Just checking the facts, ma'am, just the facts. You understand I have to do my job, ma'am, which is to get the facts.
Oh, I know, Detective, I know. But you said earlier the person who did this terrible thing would have to have the means, motive, and the opportunity. Surely you can't see that I have no motive.
Or did you?
Well, there was the online shop.
Online shop?
The Polar Express.
Oh yeah, I've seen the ads. We ship directly from Santa's workshop to you. Quality guaranteed.
No.
I've seen it too. But what does this have to do with you, Mrs. Claus?
It wasn't only me.
Do explain.
Everyone knows that all the presents come from the North Pole, but nobody realises how much it actually costs. We need wood, paint, nails, screws.
Why can't you use trees?
It's the North Pole.
Oh.
So we have to pay for a lot, not to mention the insurance.
Santa needs insurance?
Ever since the lawsuit,
Those were dark times when Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Walking home to her house Christmas Eve.
Yes, I believe I know the song. So, you set up this online store?
yes, but it was never meant to get as big as it did. It was only meant to, help out a little.
But it grew and grew and grew.
And then Santa found out.
How did he take it?
He was furious. They had like this big fight.
When was this, Mrs. Claus?
Christmas Eve, and then he left.
And what about the outcome of the fight?
He wanted her to close the store, said it defied tradition.
And did you want to do that, Mrs. Claus?
No.
I would call that motive.
He didn't know how much it took to keep it all going. You see, I never told him.
I would call that love.
Depends on your perspective, Jimmy. I'm sorry, Mrs. Claus. I have to take this into account.
No.
And so, to go on, Mrs. Claus, isn't it true that once your husband found out about the store and he made you close it, did it cross your mind for just a second that it would be easier if he was, say, out of the picture?
No, I only wanted a little money.
Isn't it true, Mrs. Claus, that you wanted his job, that you put in all the work and he took the glory?
No, I never wanted his job.
Isn't it true, Mrs. Claus, that you had a predilection for carrots?
No, I hate carrots. I don't even keep them in the house. Why are you asking about carrots?
Henry, call North Pole headquarters and verify if Mrs. Claus hates carrots.
Right on it, boss.
Detective, this is an outrage. All you can prove is that I had an online store, but you can't prove that I was even at the house where my husband met his maker.
Beg your pardon, ma'am, Mrs. Claus, just doing my job.
She hated carrots, sir.
Aha! This changes things.
But how?
Trust me on this, Jimmy. Those pointy orange vegetables are about to crack this case wide open. If only carrots were ordinarily so exciting. And now I need to confer with my colleague here. Please bear with me while Henry here gives me the lowdown on what he's got.
The two policemen huddle together, muttering and writing notes.
I do hope he hurries up. There's only a few hours left of the night to get the rest of the presents out there.
He's right, you know. We're running out of time.
But what happens now?
Lady, haven't you watched the detective show on TV, like, ever?
No, I'm an elf.
Well, it's a simple matter of deduction. He's got all the facts that he needs, and he's about to go through everything and tell us who the murderer is. Then someone will go to jail, and the rest of us will be free to go to bed, to save Christmas, or simply go home. Since it wasn't me, I'm quite keen to find out who he thinks it is. I'll admit, I have my suspicions.
Gosh, sweetie, you sound like a real grown-up detective.
I try. Say, Dollface, how about you and me?
A nice try, kid, but no.
Okay, people, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. From what you have each told me, I can deduce the following. Number one, Mrs. Claus hated carrots.
Oh, sorry, sir, but how is that relevant?
Gosh!
It just is. Two, the person who committed this heinous crime needed to have the following: means, motive, and opportunity. Jimmy, you had the motive. Santa was firing you from a job you loved, but you didn't kill him.
I didn't?
You couldn't have, because you were never alone with Santa. The 8 have confirmed your story.
Oh, that's a relief. Can I go now?
Not quite yet. That leaves 4. Let's move on. The kid. You had the means to kill Santa with your little death trap, but you lacked the opportunity and motive.
True.
You were, in fact, out cold on the floor the entire time. And since you'd like more gifts next year, I think that takes care of motive. And that leaves 3 of you: Alf, Mrs. Claus, and Rudolph. Alf, you had the motive to kill Santa because of your long-standing grudge over your working conditions. You also had the opportunity.
What?
There was a discrepancy in Jimmy's story. She said that you weren't out of her sight for a minute, but later, with the time she gave me, it added up to more than 2.5 minutes.
Well, that's still not long enough to kill him. And besides, I was next door anyway some of that time.
But what about means? In other words, how did Santa die? Henry?
The coroner determined the cause of death to be death by carrot. Santa was carotid.
Poor bastard. I told you a carrot would crack this case wide open. Tell me, Alf, do you regularly carry carrots with you?
No, I do not. The reindeers ain't allowed carrots no more. It does something to their digestion.
What do they eat then?
A mixer. We mix it up special for them. There's a lot goes into it. We got hay, moss, of course, leaves is the main part. We take it with us so they can eat on the fly. But the most important ingredient is cinnamon. It makes them fly at lightning speed.
What about the carrot that's left out for Santa's reindeers? Look around, ladies and gentlemen. Do you notice a carrot anywhere in sight?
No.
Then I put it to you, Alf, that it was entirely possible for you to use the weapon lying innocently next to his glass of milk to dispatch Santa.
But
I didn't kill him, and you can't prove that I did. I've worked long and hard for Santa. He may be a fat lump of lard, but he's my lump of lard, and I would never kill him, you big idiot!
Alf turns a strange shade of red and tries to punch the detective in the face, but he can't reach.
You're right. You couldn't have done it.
Huh?
You lacked something that vital that the murderer had.
What?
Height. You're too short to have reached Santa's mouth in order to shove a carrot in there and keep it in place long enough to commit the crime.
Thank you.
There was no.
But somebody must have used the carrot. Somebody saw the carrot, seized the opportunity, and did it just like that.
There was no carrot.
What?
There was no carrot.
I forgot to put out the carrot.
You forgot the carrot? What kind of kid are you?
The kind that's too busy rewiring the house to remember the carrot.
But you did put out the milk.
That's my glass of milk.
You drink milk?
I'm a kid. Of course I drink milk.
Well, this changes things. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now know that the killer not only killed Santa, but must have brought a carrot with them to do it. So that leaves us with two suspects. Mrs. Claus, you had the opportunity to leave the North Pole to kill Santa, as no one could place you here either. You also have motive. Rudolph, you have produced two credible alibis, but there is still a period of time unaccounted for after you were seen in the workshop. One of you did it, of that I'm certain. Mrs. Claus, according to you, you have no motive to kill him, but Rudolph, you do. You wanted his job. That leaves us with only the means.
The detective paces around in clockwise and then anti-clockwise circles, muttering to himself. Everyone watches him intently. Eventually, he slaps himself on the forehead and shouts,
Of course! Why didn't I see it before? Henry?
Yes, sir?
What exactly was purchased at the Polar Express?
We have baked goods, veggies, 2 bags of hay, and 8 bags of rolled oats.
And what vegetable was purchased, Henry?
Carrots, sir. It was a bunch of carrots.
I thought as much. I put it to you that the only one person in this room had the motive, means, and opportunity to kill Santa. What do you say to that, Mr. Rudolph?
Just because I like carrots doesn't mean I killed Santa.
Henry, search his nose bag.
No, I won't let you.
You turn it out then.
No.
What's it gonna be?
Fine.
The young cop searches through Rudolph's bag and finds a memory card. He holds it in the air for everyone to see.
Got it, sir.
No, got him.
Fine, you got me.
But why?
I'm a much better Santa than he ever was. I'm faster at getting round. I can do chimneys despite my build, and I know each and every one of those letters the children send by heart. He doesn't. I'm the one that answers them all.
You answer their letters.
Santa doesn't have the time to do anything anymore. Santa had had his day, and it was time for the old Santa to move on. It only needed someone to see it. If you ask me, I did the world a favor with the carrot.
So after the workshop, you left and came here.
Yes, I sped here at lightning speed, fueled by the cinnamon cookie that Mrs. Claus did indeed give me. Once I arrived, I slid down the chimney and set a trap for the boy, and then I waited for Santa to arrive. Whilst the child was incapacitated, I also removed the card from the camera and broke it. You know the rest.
Mr. Rudolph, I'm arresting you for the crime of murder and for ruining Christmas. Henry, take him downtown.
But what about Christmas? Who'll deliver the presents now? Can't you see I did the world a favor? Stop, stop. You're making a big mistake.
Henry is in the process of cuffing Rudolph and dragging him off when the lights go down and there's a jingling of bells. Santa's ghost appears. Everyone gasps.
Took you long enough?
Santa!
This whole evening could have been spared if only you had looked at the footprints on my back.
Footprints?
They weren't footprints at all. They were hoof prints. It was obvious from the start without any of that checking the facts business. Still, justice has been done no matter how long it took.
I cannot return in human form, but I can do something for you. Santa waves his hand. There's a whirring sound. And somewhere, a clock strikes 7. There! I've turned back the clocks to give you a bit more time.
But darling, will I ever see you again?
Of course, I am as ever, the spirit of Christmas. You can't get rid of me that easily. You should have known that, Rudolph. Henry, continue taking him downtown.
Come on, you.
There is a tussle as Henry bundles Rudolph into the cop car. Detective Hardboiled turns to face the group.
And now, all that remains is to save Christmas. Mrs. Claus, Jimmy, Alf, would you mind doing the honors?
Of course.
I'll drive.
And I'll deliver the presents.
Good luck, you three. It's time. And kid,
Yeah?
none of this ever happened.
Got it.
Good. Ho, ho, ho!